Good morning, everybody. I'm really excited to be here. I want to say welcome to all the newcomers and all the new members. I used to be a new member. It's like the coolest path ever. I belong to other churches, and they never let me juggle there. So I'm a professional juggler, and I'm going to do a little bit of that. But I'm here with my mom, and it's really fun to be with her on stage because we discovered Eckankar together over 30 years ago, and now she lives about an hour and a half away. So it's fun for us to be here on stage together. And she has a story she wants to tell about making the best out of life, and a couple terms that we use is the Mahanta. The Mahanta, the living Eckmaster, will say that's our spiritual guide, our inner and outer guide, and we use that term a lot in this talk, so that's what that means. So why don't you tell them your story, Ma?
Okay. So it was a beautiful summer day, and I was just thinking all days should be like this during the summer. And so I'm out doing some gardening. The next day, I try to get out of bed, and I can't. I just fall on the floor. And my husband calls the paramedics, and an ambulance stopped, just came to pick me up, and they stopped just outside of town. We live in northern Wisconsin. And so they're calling on the radio, and they decided to take me to Regions Hospital in St. Paul, which is, like an hour and a half drive. So we make the drive down there, and we're parked in the ambulance, and they go in and they come back out, and they say, we can't do anything here. They don't have a doctor that can perform what needed to happen.
So they drove you all the way to St. Paul.
Yes.
And then they got you there, and they didn't know what to do with you.
Right. It was pretty much basically it. We're just hanging out in the back of the, ambulance, playing tic-tac-toe and whatnot.
She's joking around with the ambulance driver, and but tell them why.
Well, we were just doing this joking around, and there was absolutely nothing I could do. And so they turned around and they drove all the way back to get to Amory, Wisconsin, which was another, hour and a half to 2 hours. And
back to where they started.
Yeah, actually, we went back to where we started and beyond. And so, it's the whole day. It was just, party, hanging out. I remember hanging out in the back of the ambulance, joking around, and, But, what would you do? You got two options. You could laugh or cry. Come on.
But one of the things that you said to me is that the whole time you felt like the Mahanta was with you.
Absolutely. I was not afraid. I was just, just having a good time. And knew that everything was going to be the way it's supposed to, because I really didn't have a choice. You're there, and you just make the best of it. So after they drove back up to Wisconsin, and I knew that the Mahanta was still with me, we arrived at the hospital, and out of the ambulance we go, and I'm thinking, oh, God, we're actually going to get somewhere. So we arrived at the hospital, we got into the elevator, and the elevator was going down instead of up. That is not a good sign in a hospital. It just simply wasn't. I've been around hospitals. I actually was working in a hospital, and I know that what they have down that basement. It was in a room larger than this, and there were gurneys wall to wall, and there was no space in there except enough walkway to push my cart in there. And I'm laying there looking at, like about 100 gurneys going, uh-oh, we're in big trouble here. So
She looked around and realized they put her in the morgue.
that is true. Yes, it was the morgue, and that's why there were all those tables and all those carts, and it just wasn't real fulfilling.
So what did you say to the Mahanta at that point?
About that Mahanta, it's, hey Mahanta, I'm still alive, and I've got, pay attention here, I still have stuff to do. So the lady doctor came in, and right on one of these gurneys next to mine, where they had all this equipment, they just started taking out all sorts of medical equipment,
They started working on it right there in the morgue.
Yeah, they just all of a sudden, boom, I was out. And they actually went into my body, up into my heart, and adjusted it. And the next thing I knew, I was up in a lovely private room. And there was a little hill outside the window that had little wildflowers growing, and it was really nice. And a nurse came in and she says, "Oh, okay, well, you can go home tomorrow now." And it was like, oh my God, what? It was absolutely unbelievable. And I knew throughout the whole thing that I was being cared for on another level. And it was the Mahanta. I was with him and he was with me, and I just didn't worry. It wasn't a big deal. It was what was supposed to happen. And in accepting that, it made all the fear go away. And it was really important for me to just settle down and take what was coming as it comes. So that was about it, I guess.
That's good. Good story, Mom. All right.
That's good.
See, that went really well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, I looked at it that I could be leaving this world at any time, and the calm and reassurance that I got from my special friend, the Mahanta, really held me through. And hey, I was out of there the next day. Thank you.
So my story is a little less life-threatening. I go to the gym a lot, and one of the ways I try and make the best of life is I just try and do little acts of kindness for all the time. And I smile at people, I wave, and a lot of times at the gym, I've made a lot of friends at the gym because I try and encourage them, and we tease each other sometimes, and and they tease me back. Some guy came up to me and said, well, what do you do? Just eat the weights? Like, what's your thing? And then so, when I saw him talking to his friends, I'm like, what is today, mouth day? Is that what we're working our mouths today? We're not going to lift some weights? So we tease each other, we have fun. And there's a lot of people I meet, but there's a lot of people I don't know. And I kind of give them nicknames in my head. There's like Smiley Girl, because she's working out, but she's always smiling. And there's Triathlon Guy. And there's Power Grandma, because she's like 70 and she's like lifts weights. And so, and they're good-natured nicknames. And I was juggling in the gym, and I go there to work out, but I also juggle. I pick a corner way away from everybody. It's kind of my little space, and I juggle. I'll show you what I mean. I brought some of my juggling stuff. I didn't do it yet. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Mic coming through? So, how's that? Okay, so they have some pickup mics on stage, but there we go. Okay, these guys are so good. So I was just going to juggle for you a little bit, and in this particular trick, I'm just throwing one club at a time, and apparently nobody cares. So see that's not the cool. So no, I was just teasing. All right, so thank you. So I was juggling in the gym, and I was working on these tricks in the corner, and I was working on this trick where I throw one up and I twirl it, and I do stuff like that. There's this really complex trick I was trying to learn, and what you're doing is instead of throwing one club at a time, you throw them simultaneously. So this one is going to go straight up, and this one goes across at the same time as the other one goes straight up, and then I have to get rid of the one that's in my hand. It's like a super crazy trick, and when I drop, they go all over the place. I'm going to try and do it. We'll see what happens. So thank you. I did it. So I'm working at the gym in my little corner, and this guy comes walking up, and he sets down like a yoga mat, like right in my personal space. Well, okay, it wasn't really my personal space, but it was my personal juggling space, which is worse, okay? And so, like, if I'm doing one of these tricks and I drop one on him, he's gonna get hurt. So then I'm nervous about hitting him. And instead of talking to him, though, I did what any good Minnesotan does. I silently judged him. I was like, what's he doing in my spot, you know? And so I started juggling. I worked on my tricks a little bit, but then I eventually had to just give it up because I was so afraid I was gonna. It's funny. I feel like I just stepped on him because he's right there. I'm terrible at miming, so anyway, he was there in my spot, and I was like, oh, what a jerk, you know, and that's what I thought. And anyway, I packed up my stuff. I went home, and the next day I was at the gym, and I saw Smiley Girl and Power Grandma and, triathlon guy. And then I was, on the treadmill. I'm running. I'm like, oh, there's Jerk Guy. And I got a message to the Mahanta, a very clear one. In my mind, this message came through from the Mahanta, and it said, it's not your responsibility to choose who gets divine love. Yeah, I know. And so I was like, wow. I felt awful. It was like a punch in the stomach. So I'm like, all right, I got to go say hi to not Jerk Guy. So I saw him working out, and I went over there. I just said, hey, how's it going? He's like, you're a juggler guy. And I said, yeah, my name's Mick. He goes, my name's Mike. He's like, I am just so impressed by you. And I said, oh, well, thanks. And he's like, can I tell you some things? And I know where this is going. I'm thinking, please don't. He's like, you seem like such a great guy. And you're so inspiring. And I watch you juggle, and I see how hard you work. And you just inspire me. And he just kept talking. I'm just like, oh. Just felt worse and worse. But so the lesson I got is really was pretty clear. Is like I'm indiscriminate about how I give out divine love. And when I find someone that I start to judge, I actually go out of my way to try and meet them. And I always find that they're great people. They're wonderful souls. And so that's, I think, the best way that I've learned to make the best out of life, no matter what's going on, is just to give out divine love and random acts of kindness. Thank you.